The use of Barvar 2-phosphate biofertilizer for crops. Greeting to all hard-working and pioneer farmers. In this program, we will be with you to present methods by which you can conduct seed treatments with Barvar 2-phosphate biofertilizer. Keep in mind, we use one package or bottle of Barvar 2-phosphate biofertilizer, 100 grams or 200 cc for seeds sown in 1 hectare of land. Since we have amounts of seeds like corns to be treated, I've used a little water, just enough to fill up this spray. I'm going to suspend it in water by slowly mixing it well in this container. I must emphasize, the ingredients of this biofertilizer are not toxic in any way, such that we can directly mix them up even with our hands. Since we don't want the nozzle of the sprayer to become blocked by particles, so for the powder form of a Barvar 2-phosphate biofertilizer, we need to use a fine mesh or a thin cloth to filter out the solid particles. As you see, it's really simple to dissolve Barvar 2-phosphate biofertilizer powder in water. I'm here today to do seed treatment for you in 5 minutes, exactly 5 minutes. We have mixed Barvar 2-phosphate biofertilizer in this container and have filtered it with a fine mesh. The material you see here are the scum, which, as I told you, must be separated from the solution. Now I ask my partner to help me pour the solution in the other container. Take this, please. We need to add water to have a volume that is enough for treatment of the seeds to be used in 1 hectare. In fact, we treat the seeds with Barvar 2-phosphate biofertilizer solution just enough to become moistened. Now we are mixing these seeds carefully until the solution wets all the seeds. See, our seeds are so dry as they are easily separated from each other and cause no problems for later use in seeder machines. Farmers should pay attention to this issue, that the degree of moisture should not be too much. Very well. In case we lose the control and the moist that we give to the seeds becomes more than the norm, seeds could be dried up for 1 to 2 hours in shadow such that they don't cause problems in seeder machines. Soon, in the next step, when I talk about using it in the seeder, I will tell you how to use it specifically. Okay, see now our seeds are completely ready. They have absorbed their moisture and they have been inoculated with the bacteria of Barvar 2 biofertilizer. At this step, we can put them onto the seeder and sow them. This is a corn seeder machine. We are in a cornfield right now and we want to carry out seed treatment inside the seeder. Well, seed tank is empty right now. There is nothing in it and it's ready for inoculating the seeds. For the inoculation of the seeds, we need just a little bit of Barvar 2-phosphate biofertilizer solution. Now, you can see the volume of this solution is so little, just enough to give moisture to my seeds. Dear farmers, you know well that when corn seeds are moisturized in any way, they become swollen. This swelling causes it not to go through the nozzles very well and to stick in them. This is why I took such a little amount of the solution. Also, please note that I didn't decrease the biofertilizer itself. It is still 100 grams or 200 cc per hectare. Instead, I reduced the amount of water needed to dissolve Barvar 2 biofertilizer in it. The method is that we first pour in the seeds, and while we are pouring in the seeds, I wet the seeds. In this way, with Barvar 2 phosphate biofertilizer solution. Then I mix them up in the tank very well. This small volume of moisture will do the job and places the bacteria on the seeds.
For the treatment of seeds, for which very little amount is needed per hectare, in addition to the previous method, we have an easier method that I want to talk about. Here, we have a canola seeds enough for 1 hectare of land. We have placed them here in the shade on a piece of plastic. The method is that we firstly wet the required seed like this. We carefully wet them with the water and mix them thoroughly so that all the seeds are completely moistened. We do it again. We can do this with a stuff like a broom, especially when we want to inculate seeds for several hectares at once. If using liquid form, you do not do so. Please add it directly. Or if needed, dilute it beforehand. Then mix until all the seeds are wet as you see here. For the solid form, wet the seeds, open a package of Barvar 2 biofilterizer, and put it over a moistened seeds. Like this. After that, we completely mix up the seeds and Barvar 2 biofilterizer. We continue this mixing until Barvar 2 phosphate biofilterizer reaches all the seeds. When we are sure all seeds have been inoculated with the bacteria of Barvar 2 biofilterizer, we can start sowing. The seeds are ready now, and if you feel they are too wet and may cause problems for the seeder, you can spread them in shadow for a bit, so the seeds dry up, and then take the seeds to the field for sowing. In this part, you will see we use 1 package or bottle of Barvar 2 phosphate biofilterizer per hectare. To do this, we need to dilute a package or a bottle with water, mix well, and if needed, filter the solution to have enough liquid for inculation of high volumes of seeds. For solid form, the filtration is necessary to pass liquid through the nozzles of a spray with no problem. In both cases, it should be poured into spray and then sprayed on the seeds. And then seeds should be mixed up by shovel, spade, or your hands until this solution wets the surface of all seeds. I should add that since each package or bottle of Barvar 2 phosphate biofilterizer is enough for 1 hectare, each pack should be mixed up with water as much as it's enough for damping the seeds of 1 hectare of land. Normally, for every 100 kilograms of wheat seeds, about 2 liters of liquid is needed. For example, if we want to inculate 200 kilograms of wheat seeds to be sown in 1 hectare, we need 4 liters of Barvar 2 solution to be sprayed on the seeds. I open a package or bottle of the biofilterizer and pour it into a container that we have already filled with some water. I will pour it into the container and completely mix it. Then we must use a filter. I ask my partner. To pour in other container which we have handy here. We will pass the solution through the filter into other container. We will squeeze the filter a bit with hands. There is no need to use the scum. Here's a sprayer that we have washed very well before. We will pour the prepared solution in the sprayer. Then spray the seeds so that the surface of all the seeds moistened by the solution. Dear friends, as you have seen, the method of seed treatment is just like what I have done with my partner. It must be completely mixed so that all parts of the seeds are covered with this biofilterizer and they shouldn't be sticky. We can check it with our hands. If too wet, we can dry them in the shade. We will wait a bit so its level of moisture decreases, and then we will put them into a case, and then they are ready to be taken to a farm for sowing. Another method for seed treatment with Barvar 2-phosphate biofilterizer is when you want to sow the seeds using seeder machine. To do this, you should prepare the solution in the same way as I explained before. Filter Barvar 2 solution and then pour it into a sprayer tank. We want to sow the seeds. We pour the seeds from the cases into seeder tank. Right after adding half of the seeds into seeder tank, we can spray some solution just enough to moisturize the seeds. Then we must mix them up very well with our hands or with something like a small spade inside the tank, and then we can pour in the other half of the case. We can add in about 25 kilograms of the seeds at a time until the tank of the seeder has filled up. And then the tractor will go and finish the seed cultivation. For tuber plants, like potatoes, firstly, we have to prepare a dilute Barvar 2-phosphate biofilterizer solution with the amount of water required to wet potatoes needed in 1 hectare. We pour the Barvar 2-phosphate biofilterizer solution on the potatoes. Here, I have prepared the solution right now, and one of the case of potato tuber is here. I will pour the right amount of solution on tubers in the case, in a way to wet the surface of all the tubers. Now, we can take the potato case to the field and finish with planting them. For plants which are initially grown in nurseries and then transferred to mainland, such as rice or tomatoes, you can need to prepare a dilute Barvar 2-phosphate biofilterizer solution in a container as I show you now. Take enough water to soak the roots of seedling for 1 hectare of land and pour 1 package or bottle of Barvar 2-phosphate biofilterizer to the water like this to prepare the Barvar 2-phosphate biofilterizer solution. We have to stir it well so that the content of the package or bottle is completely mixed with water and the Barvar 2 bacteria are released to it. We take the solution to the field and right before transferring the seedlings to the main land, we just need to immerse the root of each transplant in the solution like this, and then we can plant them in the main field. It is noteworthy that if the planting is done by transplanting machines, we must fill the transplantation trays with Barvar 2-phosphate biofilterizer solution and then place it in the transplanting machine and perform the planting process in this manner.
We have reached a section of using Barvar 2-phosphate biofertilizer during irrigation or top dressing method. As an easy way to apply Barvar 2-phosphate biofertilizer to the cultivated lands, we like to be able to distribute the solution uniformly in the entire land.